guys right there. About 8 years ago, I was standing in line at our local hardware store when I met a nice old man that was very familiar with the area where Cedar and I had just purchased 40 acres.
Stay here, dogs.
The very first question he asked me was if I'd hiked up into the mountains and looked for gold. I said no, and he made it clear to me that he thought there was a gold seam up here somewhere. Well, that was 8 years ago when I met that nice old man, and I believe this gold pan's been bouncing around in the back of my Ranger for about 2 years, so today's as good a day as any to learn how to pan for gold.
Come on, dogs.
The plan is to take the dogs and work my way from the lowest point on the public land, progressively higher from there, and maybe somewhere along the way I'll figure out how to do this. But as it gets warmer, the creek starts running less and less every day. So who knows, if I take the dogs for a walk once a day, I could probably spend all summer doing this. Well, it's time to get back to the boulder retaining wall, and clearly I'm going to need every boulder I can possibly find around here. This pile of boulders showed up as I dug out the hillside over winter. Now it's time to very carefully move these boulders down to the house with the Bobcat skid steer. So some years back, Cedar and I got to learn the hard way just how easy it is to get into credit card debt and frankly how the system is stacked against you when it comes to getting out. This would have been a perfect moment in our lives to use PDS Debt to help us manage that situation.
If you're making payments every month on your debt and your balances aren't going down, then this program is for you. PDS Debt has customized options for anyone struggling with credit cards, personal loans, collections, or medical bills. You could save thousands in interest and fees and pay off your debt in a fraction of the time. PDS Debt is a top-rated company on Google and has an A+ rating on the BBB.
PDS Debt rolls all of your payments into one low monthly payment. So everyone with $10,000 or more in eligible credit card debt would qualify. There is no minimum credit score required, bad, and fair credit accepted. PDS Debt is offering a free debt analysis, and it only takes 30 seconds.
Head to pdsdebt.com/redpoppyranch to get your free debt assessment today.
Thank you, PDS Debt. As much as I love my excavator, I'm learning the hard way that I only have so much reach right here from the ground. What I found building the first terrace was I preferred laying the foundation boulders, pulling a little bit of dirt off the hill behind the boulders, using that dirt to cushion the second layer of rocks. But right here from the ground, I can't reach back behind the boulders on the second terrace the way that I want to. So because I can't reach back behind the boulders very well, I'm not able to put that cushion of dirt, which means I'm not building the wall in a way that I'm going to like. And so somewhere in the middle of this, I'm starting to realize that I'm going to have to stop, pull the hill back even more if I'm going to be able to stack these boulders the way that I want to. Well, I'm running out of the biggest boulders that I have, but I still have lots and lots of 500 to 700 pound boulders and even a few 1,000-pound boulders laying around. But again, from this angle, it's getting harder and harder to stack them. That storm at the beginning of the video would put down 2.5 inches of rain, so as I'm building this retaining wall, I've got to be aware that we can have storms like that from time to time. So this is the moment where I decide I need to stop building the boulder retaining wall until I pull some of the dirt back. But before I can pull the dirt back too far, I have a yard hydrant that's right smack dab in the middle of where I want the new terrace. So first I'm going to pull some dirt back for this next terrace, and then I'm going to relocate that yard hydrant. So underneath about 2 to 3 feet of topsoil is the most ridiculous clay I have ever seen in my life. It seems that the deeper I get down in that clay, the cleaner the clay gets, but I still find boulders all over the place. So as long as I can grade this up here to control where the water goes, I'm not that concerned about the hills sloughing off. But as you saw earlier, we can get some serious rain up here. So as I'm digging out each terrace as I'm coming up the hillside, I have to do something with all of this dirt. And so far I've been able to go around the corner of this shelf and just continue to stretch the shelf out, which actually gives us more flat ground around here to do something. Somewhere on one of these hillside terraces I need to build a batting cage so I can work with Reed up here and we can keep the baseballs close by in the process. A couple summers back, I moved a whole bunch of dirt around up here on this hill in preparation for the rock retaining wall, but I also added a couple of feet of topsoil to the already deep water line. So now the water line might be as deep as 10 feet. So the plan is to move this yard hydrant right here to the other side, closer to the water main, so I can pull these terraces back a little further. I need to open up the water tank shed for the first time this year and make sure that I can get access to the shutoff valves, so when I do hit that water line next to that hydrant, I'm not in too much of a panic trying to get the water shut off. By the way, the yellow flowering plant is called Dyer's Woad, and it's an invasive weed that seems to show up right after I move a whole bunch of dirt around. I have now dug deep enough with the excavator that I'm starting to get a little bit nervous because I can't find the water line where I think the water line should be. Well, even after going back and finding one of my old videos where I installed this water line, it's way deeper than I thought it would be and I can't find it. Sometimes you just gotta keep digging. Because of how sensitive this hillside really is, I'm trying not to move around any more dirt than I have to. So as I'm digging down to try and find the water line, I'm also trying to think about where I want the terraces to end up. And hopefully I can take care of two problems at the same time. You'd think by now that I've learned to point the camera at what we're looking at, but clearly I haven't. But I found the water line. So now I can dig up this yard hydrant here and move it over to the other side. Those Woodford yard hydrants have about doubled in cost since I first installed this, so I want to reuse it on the other side and save some money. The only thing I'm going to do different installing this yard hydrant is I'm going to add a piece of pressure treated post to give it just a little bit more support than normal. I teed off the main line for a future drip system for all of these terraces. All right, so getting the hydrant moved from over there to here, now I can pull this dirt back. I can pull these last two terraces back the way that I need to before I start stacking boulders again. Of course, this is turning into a bigger project than I anticipated, but I like big projects. And already changing the angle of the hillside, it's just kind of opening up this whole area down here around the house. It just feels more roomy. And I can't wait to figure out how much of our garden we can put up here, because the truth is, this is always damp in here. There's a little bit of a seep that comes down the side of the mountain, and it's always damp over in the corner there. And naturally look at the topsoil. You can see how good the topsoil is. Naturally, this should be a great place to garden. So thank you guys for stopping by and seeing what we're up to, and we will see you in a week with hopefully another terrace built. That's my goal for next week anyway.